On 20 March 2003, U.S. and coalition forces began the invasion of Iraq with the intent to end the regime of Saddam Hussein and help the Iraqi people create conditions for a transition to a representative self-government. Under cover of darkness, tanks of the 1st Marine Expeditionary Forces, Regimental Combat Team 5, rolled through the breaches on the northern border of Kuwait and attacked to the north. In the days that followed, 1 MEF seized key bridges at Al-Naziriyah, withstood the mother of all sandstorms, and fought its way northwest to Baghdad, rolling up Iraqi forces along the way. Speed was essential to success, and operational planners deliberately kept the force as light, fast, and agile as possible. Logistics plans concentrated on sustaining the critical tactical capabilities of the force. Shooting, moving, and communicating took priority over everything else, a risk that proved worthy of its taking. Within weeks of crossing the line of departure, Marines were in Baghdad, and the regime of Saddam Hussein had been toppled.
Knowing that we were going to do the march up to Baghdad, if you will, we understood very intimately what the tactical level logistics piece needed to be. We had an organization that we thought was ideally designed for that, and it is today the old FSSG, Force Server Support Group, that became the Marine Logistics Group. And it showed a lot of adaptability at the tactical level by reorganizing at the start of OIF.
We're very much involved in the tactical fight, and that tactical fight being making sure that 1st Marine Division and the elements of 1st Marine Division, specifically those 3 regimental combat teams, 1st Marines, 5th Marines, and 7th Marines, RCT 1, 5, and 7, had the right amount of sustainment with them or within almost like arm's reach to ensure that they can continue that fight. A big part of that was making sure that that combat service support element that was following in trace of those regimental combat teams had the right amount of days of supply of classes 1, 3, and 5, food and water, fuel, and ammunition.
With the fall of Saddam Hussein's regime, the nature of the conflict shifted from a conventional force-on-force fight to security and stability operations amidst a growing insurgency. Befitting their reputation, the Marines drew one of the toughest assignments: duty in the Al-Anbar province, part of the violent Sunni Triangle. This would prove to be a demanding and protracted operation, dispersed across a wide area. Tactical logistics forces stretched to provide sustainment throughout the dangerous area of operations. Meanwhile, additional logistics requirements beyond the reach of tactical forces were becoming apparent. Ready access to replacements for combat equipment losses and assistance with overflow maintenance were critical to ongoing counterinsurgency operations, while the growing threat of IEDs prompted an unprecedented armoring effort in theater and at home. Marine Corps Logistics Command, already serving alongside Marines from 1 MEF, was soon to assume a significant role in operational level logistics in Iraq.
What we found missing was that bridge between that tactical level logistics that we had well planned and well organized, and the national and theater logistics providers that are the realm of the Marine Component Commander. So in our planning, as I was a 1 MEF logistics planner, we worked hard to try and figure out how do we do this. And there was no organization that existed at the time. There wasn't anything that filled that operational level logistics bridge.
We recognized early in the war, right after the formation of LOGCOM, that we had an end-to-end logistics mission to meet. And we were able to exploit that capability, develop some skills further that finally led to us being in theater with LOGCOM Forward. And our ability to be able to bring together a contracted workforce, a civilian workforce, and a military workforce allowed us to rapidly meet whatever changing conditions that were out there.
In early 2010, the strategic focus shifted from Iraq to Afghanistan to counter renewed Taliban momentum, enable the development of a trained and capable Afghan military, and set the conditions for the eventual withdrawal of coalition forces. As the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Brigade took the fight to the Helmand Province, Marine Corps Logistics Command Forward was directed to displace its headquarters from Iraq to Afghanistan, taking with it many of the capabilities that would be necessary to sustain a large force conducting counterinsurgency operations over an extended period of time. But even as supplies and equipment flowed into Afghanistan from bases at home and within Iraq, senior Marine Corps leadership recognized early on the need to develop the functions and processes that would support the eventual retrograde and redeployment at war's end. Marine Corps Logistics Command was assigned the lead for tactical planning and execution of ground equipment reset, and its forward headquarters would soon find itself on point for the largest such operation since Vietnam.
We were doing a lot of continued equipment sourcing. We were doing, starting the early planning for PI rotations already. We were continuing to expand the forward in stores, the FIS, which gave the MEF a ready pool of ready-for-issue equipment to replace any battle damaged equipment. So those were the main functions, but really I was there and LOGCOM Forward was there to provide any kind of support, whether continued distribution management, supply support, or equipment sustainment for the OEF MAGTF.
MARCEN started with the headquarters, planning for how we ought to best do this coming out of Afghanistan. So that's when the groundwork was laid. And in fact, it was General Dunford, who was the commander of MARCEN at the time, who told his staff that when we come out of Afghanistan, we need to put as much thought and effort and mental muscle into coming out as we did when we surged into Afghanistan.
The Marine Corps planned not just the retrograde out of Afghanistan, but also an immediate in-stride effort to begin to improve the equipment that was coming out, to reset the equipment that was coming out so that we could reconstitute the Marine Corps as we were coming out of Afghanistan in stride with the warfighting effort. LOGCOM Forward, working for the component commander, MARCEN, was ideally situated and ideally positioned both in terms of where they were on the ground, the kind of force that they had on the ground, plus their linkages into both the Marine Corps service-wide logistics capabilities, as well as Transcom and some of the other national transportation providers, to be able to be MARCEN's executor of retrograde and redeployment, so we could do both of those activities in support of the broader reset effort.
On June 1st, 2014, in a short ceremony aboard Camp Leatherneck in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, Marine Corps Logistics Command Forward was deactivated. Having completed its simultaneous tasks of providing sustained operational level logistics to Marine forces in theater and retrograding over 60,000 items of equipment from Afghanistan, the command was directed to furl its colors and return them to Albany, Georgia.
The MAGTF can deploy itself and can sustain itself before a short period. And when the MAGTF commander turns around and looks over his shoulder for support, it is operational level logistics that is going to bring the strategic capabilities of the nation together to the, and bring those together at a point where the young Lance Corporal on the ground can use those capabilities.
LOGCOM is a unique organization. Not only do we have deep skill sets in the primary areas of supply, maintenance, and distribution, we have a talented group of people that have been here and understand the business at a very detailed level. I think when you bring the skill sets that we have, the desire to be able to meet warfighter and operating force demands, along with the ability to quickly create solutions, a certain level of agility, I think you have a very powerful tool that can be exploited by the Marine Corps anytime it needs it.
As the Marine Corps reprises its role as the nation's expeditionary force in readiness, however, Marine Corps Logistics Command stands ready to reactivate its forward headquarters and deploy it alongside the operating forces when called to do so.
Just like a MEF can task organize into whatever the MAGTAF is required to conduct a mission, LOGCOM, through its LOGCOM Forward, can put out a range of capabilities necessary to support those logistics operations at the component level of war.
An experienced operational level capability that keeps ground commanders focused on the fight in front of them, Marine Corps Logistics Command forward proved its value in Al Taqadum and the Helmand Province, and will inevitably do so again, where and when the Marine Corps directs.